Okay, I wanted to go over this Harbor Freight inner tie rod puller and the rant that I have about it. I paid $28 for this because I knew I was going to be doing some inner tie rods. And it comes with some adapters, different size adapters. And I'm going to show you this tool in action here in just a second. In fact, let me go ahead and do that, and I'm going to show you the rant that I have. Okay, so I got this tie rod all ready to go. I got the boot off. This is the original tie rod. I've got to change out. This is part of the problem. That's not the one I'm going to use. Okay, so this is a 33.6 millimeter. And I'm probably going to have to set this down. 33.6 millimeter fits that just perfect. So I'm going to set the camera down just for a second while I get the tool on here. The tool does work good as long as, okay, hold on, let me get it back on here. It is kind of a cumbersome tool. The little locking sleeve is kind of tough sometimes to rotate around. I'm going to go ahead and break this tie rod loose. I've got it connected on there. I don't have the locking sleeve completely locked. You don't really need to do that, as long as you hold it straight and keep it on there. I think I got it broke loose. And yeah, and I'll show you the problem that I've got with this tool. So this is the original tie rod. Tool works good, but they kind of overlooked something. Okay, this is the 33.6 that I just used on the original tie rod. Worked great. Now, also in the kit is an 1 5/16". I ended up having to grind this one. As you can see, they are hardened. I found out I was going to mill it. I just happened to have a milling machine, but these adapters, jaws, whatever you want to call them, they are hardened. So I decided I'll just grind it on the bench grinder. The aftermarket tie rod, which is a Moog tie rod, still made in China. You know, I don't know anymore. Used to, Moog was American made, and they made the best suspension and steering products as far as aftermarket. Now that they're made in China, I don't know if they're any better than anything else you get. But okay, so back to the original scope of this video. This 1 5/16 only measured 11 thousandths bigger than this 33.6. And I did a little bit of videoing with my phone to show that earlier, and then my phone ran out of memory, so I said, you know what, I'm not going to videotape this. But you know, I went to the other side and I decided, you know, there's a few reviews on this tool, and my honest opinion, for the money, it's probably worth it, but just be prepared to possibly have to grind a jaw or two, because these were almost, like I say, they were 11. The 1 5/16 was literally 11 thousandths bigger than the 33.6 millimeters. So the problem I had, I didn't have one that would fit the aftermarket tie rod. The 33.6 won't quite fit it. So I thought, okay, I'll go to the next size bigger, which just by feel or look, you couldn't tell the which one of these were bigger. I had to actually measure them with my digital calipers, to be able to determine that this is the bigger one, but only by 11 thousandths of an inch. That's only about 3 sheets of paper bigger. Well, it wouldn't fit either. It was just as tight as this, trying to get it on there. The only other one that's bigger than both those is this 1 7/16". Now it would fit, but you can see how sloppy it is. And I tried to tighten it up with this. I thought, okay, if I can just get it tight enough with this, I'll be fine with it. Well, it slipped. It rotated around, so I thought, okay, I'm gonna have to go to the next step, which is when I took the inch. This was the bigger one by 11 thousandths, so I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and enlarge this one. So I took it over to the bench grinder, and I ground off enough to where now it does fit the aftermarket tie rod. And I've already done the passenger side. It works great. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know this is a 2010 Town & Country van, Chrysler van. I did struts on it last week, and they went to get it aligned, and the alignment shop told them that the tie rods were seized up. They literally couldn't rotate them, and you could tell where they was trying, and they were right. I had to get a torch and torch them to just barely get them to rotate. So I ended up cutting them off, and now they've got all new tie rods. But anyway, so I'm going to put this one on. There's plenty of videos on replacing inner tie rods, but I think this is probably going to be the first video showing that there's at least 2 of these jaws in the kit that are virtually identical in size, which to me is an oversight. They should have realized, okay, if there's tie rods out there that are exactly 33.6, and if there's tie rods out there that are actually exactly 1 5/16", just use the 1 5/16" for the ones that are 33.6. The tie rod, whenever I took the passenger side off, I actually used this 1 5/16" because it was just the first one that I pulled out of here that fit, and it fits good. I thought, okay, that's all I need. That's the right one. Only whenever I went to put the aftermarket on, I realized there wasn't one to fit, and that's whenever I got to looking, and the 33.6 and the 1 5/16", they were almost identical in size. 11 thousandths bigger was this one here. So I ground it so it would fit. It worked great. So what they should have done was made this one bigger, like I just did, and you know, let you use the 33.6 on either the 33.6 size or the 1 5/16" size tie rods. So anyway, that's all I've got. And this is the kit. It's Pittsburgh 8-piece. You know, I figured, well, with 8 pieces, surely it's going to have the right size adapters. And the picture's misleading, as you can see. The picture doesn't even show the little ears right here. And so the way that works, I don't know if you saw, and this is another kind of rant. I got a little bit of grease and stuff on my hands, so it's from doing these tie rods. The way this works, you generally have to put the adapter on the tie rod first, and while you're holding it, okay, that fits in there like that. While you're holding it, you're supposed to reach around here and rotate that. Well, this little piece right here is slick. So when you got grease on your hands, you're trying to reach around there. You're trying to hold this on from falling off, and then you're trying to rotate that. And my hands was just slipping because of all the grease. This doesn't have to be rotated around. It does kind of help hold it on. What I ended up doing once I got this on there, and especially when you're not holding the camera, you can just kind of hold it and go ahead and turn it and break it loose, and you don't have to lock that ring. But it'd be nice if there was some kind of texture, knurling or something on this so that you can actually grip it with greasy and oily hands and turn it. But other than that, the tool works great. For the money, there's nothing close that you can get to it. So, you know, if you are needing an inner tie rod tool, I would recommend this, but just be aware. You might come across tie rods that you may have to do a little grinding on the jaw. or the adapter, whatever I don't even know what they would call these. Spanner, open end, spanner, I don't know. Adapter. I'll just call them an adapter. But anyway, I'm going to get this new one on there and I'll be done with this car. That was just something I was wanting to show you guys. I did find another one of these on Amazon that's got a whole lot more of these adapters. I can't remember. I mean, it had like, I don't know, 13 or 16 different size adapters. But it was like $100 and some for that one. I can't remember who made it. It was on Amazon. Inner tie rod tool on Amazon. So this one doesn't have near the adapters, but I'm sure this one has the adapters that the majority of cars out there would probably need. So you'll probably be safe buying this as long as you understand that, yeah, you may need to do a little grinding. So anyway, take care.